Former Madigan aide Tim Mapes sentenced to more than 2 years for lying, obstruction. Chicago. CBS. Tim Mapes, the longtime chief of staff to former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan, was sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison on Monday for lying under oath to a grand jury to protect his old boss. A federal jury found Mapes guilty in August 2023 of 1 count of perjury and 1 count of attempted obstruction of justice. The perjury charge carried a sentence of up to 5 years, and the obstruction charge carried a sentence of up to 20 years. Federal prosecutors had accused Mapes of lying to a grand jury about his knowledge of Madigan's relationship with longtime confidante Michael McClain from 2017 to 2019, despite being granted immunity from prosecution in exchange for truthful testimony. According to the indictment, Mapes, who served as Madigan's chief of staff until 2018, denied knowing McClain acted as an agent or performed work for Madigan during those years when he knew McClain had done so. The grand jury claimed Mapes attempted to corruptly obstruct, influence, and impede the investigation. During the nearly 3-week trial, the jury heard a recording of Mapes' entire grand jury testimony, spanning approximately 2 hours. Such recordings are typically kept secret. Jurors also heard several hours of wiretap recordings that seemed to contradict his grand jury testimony. In February 2021, about 6 weeks before his grand jury testimony, Mapes sat down for an FBI interview, but prosecutors have suggested he ended that interview after he was asked about Madigan and McClain. He was later subpoenaed to testify before the grand jury. After asserting his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, he was granted immunity from prosecution in exchange for truthful testimony. But federal prosecutors said he repeatedly lied when he testified, despite repeated warnings that he could be prosecuted for perjury. Along with 3 others, McClain was convicted earlier this year in a federal bribery case involving utility giant ComEd. McClain, former ComEd CEO Ann Pramaggiore, retired ComEd Vice President John Hooker, and former ComEd consultant Jay Doherty were found guilty on every count of a 9-count indictment accusing them of conspiracy, bribery, and falsifying documents. Madigan and McClain are accused of a bribery scheme involving multiple businesses, including ComEd and AT&T, in which the businesses paid Madigan's associates as a reward for their loyalty to Madigan. Federal prosecutors said Madigan used his various political positions as part of a long-term scheme to arrange for no-show jobs for his political workers and personal benefits for himself.